What is the worst thing someone has said to you during sex? Oh my god. That feels like Josh. Guess who Josh is? Put his hand over my mouth and said, SHHHH. Every time you talk, it goes down. One time things were getting hot and heavy with my girlfriend. She whispers my name into my ear. And, for some reason, I still don't know why, I proceed to whisper my own name back into her ear. Extremely sensually. Needless to say, no sex was had that night. Did the dog just in the kitchen? Yes. He did. He did. Don't touch my sides. And that's how I played Operation with my penis. That's interesting. I don't usually do open heart surgery with my dick. Girl taps on dick and says, is this thing on? Not me. But an old friend of mine. Really quiet. Soft spoken. Polite guy. A total gentleman and a graduate student in the liberal arts. Also, pretty inexperienced. Tentative. And vanilla-early. He's dating this really cool girl for maybe 2 months. She is much kinkier in bed. She floats the idea of dirty talk. Apparently likes to be objectified. Even demeaned a bit. From time to time. He's hesitant. But wants to please her and doesn't dismiss the idea outright. Changes the subject and figures that they'll revisit the idea another time. Anyway. They have sex a few days later for the first time since the conversation. Really going at it doggy style. And she tells him to talk dirty to her. He says that he can't think of anything to say. So he says nothing. And she then repeats the request. But the second time she is not requesting. But demanding it. He comes up with, yeah. You like that? You lying? He's never struck me as one for embellishment. So I believe him. He said that was it for sex that night. Although they are still together 2 years on now. He called me his wife's name. I did not know he was married. Hillary Rodham. Get your finger out of there. Edit. What is that on my dick? Apostrophe. It was a giant blood clot. Comma thanks, uterus. I think that's something that every woman will experience at least once. Probably several times. Oh. My period doesn't start until tomorrow, ended yesterday. We're clear for takeoff. And then out of nowhere, uterus decided to make an appearance. Surprise mother. I still hate you. Not the worst but definitely weird. My GF's brother and I have the same name. After learning this amazing fact, the next few times we had sex his face would pop into my mind whenever she called out my name. Maybe you both thinking of him. Yeah. I dated a girl, I'm also a girl, with the same name as me. I said this once after about 10 pumps. Surprise. Then I came all over her stomach. It was to cover my embarrassment at coming so quickly. My boyfriend said PP sad after a series of giggle fits during sex. Yeah, that's why there's laws regarding ages. Jesus. Every other girl I've been with would have come by now. Edit. I'm the girl. He said this to me. Sorry if it was confusing. It was in Czech Republic. I hit a shelf during sex with my head. The girl turned to me and said Pozor. The case is that in Czech it means be careful. However, in my mother tongue this literally means shame of you. I was so embarrassed. Edit. Well guys. My English is obviously far from being perfect. Native language. This what I meant. Edit 2. No. I didn't have sex with my head. That was my hip. I apparently dislocated her hip. That put an end to the evening's festivities. Senior citizen sex. I said this to a girl once on accident, but she probably doesn't use this site, so oh well. She was a bigger girl but I didn't mind at all. We were going at it with foreplay and such for a little before I started eyeing her from behind, and while I did I grabbed her love handles for support. Well, apparently she wasn't pleased that I did because she looks back at me and tells me not to grab her fat, and sadly the only thing I thought to say was that doesn't leave me much to work with. Edit. Well, I just quadrupled my comment karma for being a thoughtless asshole. I once drunkenly hooked up with a guy I'd been friends with for a couple of years. We were at a party at his place and the music was loud enough to be heard from the bedroom, so we didn't turn any on when we started fooling around. Everything was going great. We had moved on to the actual sex. And he starts softly singing. It's not the song that's playing out in the living room either. He just decided to start singing. And he's getting louder and louder until he's really belting it out. BYYYY by Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. It was odd. Edit. Fix the spelling, you Chevy fans. After that, back in high school, my BF at the time stopped in the middle of it to look down at me and seductively whispered, "Damn, you do look just like your mom," and then kept going. I mean, come on, really? My now husband said he loved me the first time we had sex. We hadn't been dating that long. He denies it, but I swear it happened. Immediately after. Well, it was better than nothing. You're an 8 in the dark. Or you remind me of my ex and it makes me uncomfortable. Did you leave? Not during sex. During foreplay. Was with a girl I was interested in. It was our second date, really. Just the second time we hung out, and we ended up parked in a secluded spot. We hopped into the back seat and started getting frisky. After a bit she stripped completely naked. And made clear she wanted to have sex. Thought I'd go in for a bit of muff diving before the main event. I enjoy it. And usually girls do too. So I started heading south. And just before I got to it she pulls my head up and says, "No. Please. I only let my friends do that." WTF. I mean, if you don't want cunnilingus, fine. Just tell me. But the absurdity of the "I only let my friends do that" just killed the mood and I couldn't get back into it. We talked a few more times after. But that was essentially it for us. Sometimes, being in the friend zone has its advantages. My sister is so much prettier than me. Followed swiftly by Taz. Edit. The girl I was with said this. I felt so bad. That's my stomach. It was my first time and she was a bit overweight. I just stuck it where it felt the best. Edit. Really? My most upvoted comment is this? I don't know whether to be proud or horrified. Also, her name was Betsy. Can't find a hole? Stick it in a roll. Oh man. My then boyfriend, I'm a girl, I were going at it. I'm super into dirty talk. And I was really into it. And blurted out, "I can't wait to put my cock in your mouth." We had to take a 20-second timeout for release the giggle fits. And then commenced again. Made an account for this one. I definitely told my ex I like the way she feels inside me. I'm a guy and she was not inside me. Was eating her out. TV on mute. She screams OOHHHH. Dot. USA Little League was out at third. During a session with my girlfriend at the time. Who I was thoroughly in love with. "I love the way you feel inside me. You're the biggest I've ever had." I almost feel bad for the next guy I end up with. My sense of security wasn't the only thing deflated at that moment. Let me know when you come so I can fake an orgasm at the same time. It feels smaller than it looks. Objects in Vagina may be smaller than they appear. Going at it with a guy and he gets a case of the whiskey dick. No worries. I'll take care of that. Start giving him a BJ and after some effort he rises to the occasion. Tells me, "Whoa. You could suck a corpse back to life." Thanks. I think. My grandpa's funeral is this Friday. If you could find it in your heart and mouth to bring him back to us, I would be so grateful. Hitting it doggy style. Going hard. She randomly screams me like you paid for it. So, Do you wanna just like cuddle instead? I'm a girl. By the way, straddling someone you thought you were about to have sex with for the first time after you've been seeing them for 4 months in nothing but a lace thong and getting us to just cuddle, let's just say it's quite the confidence killer. I was 20. He was 25. Edit. Some people seem to have interpreted this as me either coercing him for sex or dumping him for not sleeping with me. That is not the case. He initiated and then pulled back. Only the latest in a series of similar events. I had been trying to be patient but was getting sad and feeling rejected. After this I still stayed the night and cuddled, and the next morning we had a long talk and decided we were better off as friends. We're still friendly to this day. He's a great guy. It just made me feel very unwanted in the moment. Might have intimidated his boner. This happens. 2 nights ago. About halfway through, this girl asked if I was a virgin. As a college guy, this was basically the biggest blow to my self-confidence I can think of. Is it in? I just realized I'm a lesbian. I've never been able to fit an entire dick and both balls in my mouth at once before now. Is that your dick, or did a naked mole rat make a nest with your pubes? Not so much what she said during, but the morning after, when she was wrapped around me like some sort of human anaconda. I said I should leave. And she said, which one of us does mixed martial arts and is a black belt in karate again? Oh. Not you. 2 weeks later I proceeded to move to another country. Not because of her. But it sure as hell didn't make it any harder. That's the garage door. We were 17. Parents came home. Ruined my first time. I hope this helps my period come. He yelled out. Who's your daddy? I was going to ignore that he said that, but he then said, "Ayn, tell me. Who's your daddy?" I had to answer that he was. I have no issues with my father. He's a normal dad. So, that was really uncomfortable. I was banging my GF at the time. And she has this stupid tiny dog and a small bed. Well, we are banging and I pull out and start jerking it to blow my loaf on her, except I start falling off the bed. So I fall off and start coming on the bottom sheet thing at the bottom of the bed. Cause I can't stop. Then my leg gets a cramp. So I lay there for a second. The thing I had to say next was so terrible. Hey, can you get your dog? He's eating my cum from off of the side of your bed and I think I broke my leg. She started laughing so bad that I think she just let the dog sit there and eat it. I'll do you so hard. You'll walk with a gimp the rest of your life. Or mid BJ. If you just let me inside of you. It would be less degrading than a blowjob. Advice Mallard. If you're getting a blowjob, don't call it degrading unless you want the girl to leave. It's okay. Don't worry. I totally understand. This was in the middle of Essex and, as far as I knew, everything had been going pretty well up until then. Came out of nowhere. For me. Anyway. I want to see your bones drying in the desert sun. Wish I was kidding. If you don't say something too often, don't say it during sex. Here's a late story for whoever reads this. I'm from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, so everyone's got an accent here. Except me. It's a kind of a mild Newfoundland accent and everyone ends everything with B. X. Sup B. How's she going there B? Yes B. But that changes as soon as I start moving my pelvis. I go full blown caper white boy. We found out when we moved in together and had a load of sex. She complained I was too quiet doing it and told me to tell her dirty things. I was about to come, so my mind panicked. Then the most hick, white, caper, camo wearing sound came out of my mouth, almost screaming YSBIEE. We never laughed so hard together ever and she never lets it go. She makes fun of me occasionally by saying yes be when we squeak off the bed frame. I want to suck your dick, we're both ladies. I miss my dad. Asterisk. Bonus points from earlier that night. You smell like my dad. Not my story. I award a credit to my drunk friend having a fling with another not quite as drunk friend. The rest of the night was spent dealing with her uncontrollable crying. Your monitor is now entering sleep mode. Ugh. Hand cramp. I used to have this friend with benefits who was terrible at talking dirty, but tried anyway. I giggle every time I think about her. She was really nice. And super hot. I mean, this is one of the most physically beautiful women that I've ever been with. And she was a cool girl to hang with. One particular time that always gets me. She exclaimed, "I love feeling your dong in my vagina." It used to take every fiber of my being to not just crack up and take a quick respite from eyeing her. I honestly believe that if she wasn't so physically hot and it didn't feel so good eyeing her, that I'd never have been able to maintain my poker face. Sad thing is, she had no clue that she sucked at talking dirty. Don't worry. It's been over a week since my last outbreak. She answered the phone. And then had a half-hour conversation with her mother. She didn't understand why I dumped her. That's pretty kinky if you guys kept going. Making it out hard and heavy. One time during sex my husband was getting close but didn't want to finish yet. So, he decides to quote Supernatural. Season 7 episode 1 where Castiel is trying to hold back the Leviathans. My husband says I can't hold them back in a gravely Castiel voice. I start giggling and then he yells Leviathan. Super loud and we both crack up laughing. It takes us a couple minutes to get back into the swing of things but that makes me laugh every time I think about it. Not that exciting. But the strangest thing I've heard was "I'm gonna get you pregnant." We are both men. It was not SI. I can only refer this thread to the worst thing I ever said to someone in bed. First time messing around with some random guy. Just laying in bed naked. No sex. Just foreplay stuff. I look down at his junk and see that his balls are pretty dark, chocolate color. His shaft is very pale, vanilla color. And his head is pink, strawberry color. I laughed and said, "Your dick looks Napoleon." His face went totally blank. It took me a solid 30 seconds to realize I meant Neapolitan. I think the condom broke. I pushed him off and started freaking out. Hahaha. I was just kidding. I wanted to see how you would react. Why are you mad at me? It was just a joke. Lighten up. That is never funny. Ever. Edit to add. Condoms are not just used to prevent pregnancies but also the spread of STDs. I went through a 2-year stage of fun. I am now much more picky in who I sleep with but at the time I was a bit reckless. My initial thought was I don't want kids with this guy. 2. I know he sleeps around. What if he doesn't test himself? I had a FWB one day giving me a blowjob and after I finished she said "You taste really good." I didn't know what to say. And of course the first thing that came out was "Thanks. Refills are free." Silence came next. Wait. You're a guy? Do UOP will ever find out? My so have been together for over 2 years now. We dated 10 years ago before this time but broke up because we were young and acting crazy. Stayed in touch and couldn't be happier, now we're together again. Rewind. First time around we were having sex. His phone rang. He answered it. Well, in me. It was his ex and I heard her ask what he was doing. He said nothing. I lost it. Turns out she was young and had been acting suicidal. He felt like he had to answer. We laugh about it now and his ex is married with kids and we're all cool. Honest concern that came across as the most head up thing anyone has ever said during sex. After coitus. Have you ever thought about getting breast implants? Me and my at the time girlfriend were fooling around in bed. She whispered in my ear at one point saying I'm feeling really dirty tonight, as I replied with yeah. You should probably take a shower eventually. No sex was done that night. Or the following week. The light bulb in that refrigerator is broken. She was looking for stuffing. Is it in? Yes, I've got a small cock. Me, yeah, you like getting your hair pulled, huh? Her, not really. You suck at sex. Said the wife of nearly 20 years. We may be having issues. Am I the biggest guy you've been with? He worked out. Was on the rugby team. Had huge arms and chest. But he had this terribly tiny dick. All guys I'd been with were bigger. I didn't say anything. After a long pause, he was all, I mean, am I the most built guy you've been with? That he was. After he finished, he finger banged me until I did. Which was nice of him. Get off me. The others don't like it. One night stand with a girl with multiple personality disorder, or at least believes she has multiple personality disorder. As it seemed to be the cool thing amongst her social group, I found out. Moral. Don't stick it in crazy. Like really, guys. Don't. Even if it sounds like a good idea or she's hot. No. Oh god, you dated somebody from Tumblr. We usually joke with my GF and say give a kiss to dad mom talking about us. One time. During sex. My GF out of nowhere she said give a kiss to grandma. We both started laughing and couldn't finish. I am a male. First language is Spanish. I was having sex with my Spanish speaking girlfriend at the time and I told her in Spanish. Tell me you're my daddy. Instead of saying tell me who's your daddy. You're getting kind of chubby. I'm just saying cause I love you. Mother understands. Mother's here to help you. Darling. Here's what I suggest. Skip the drama. Stay with mama. Mother knows best. Are tangled. One day I threatened my ex-girlfriend that I was going to say something really raunchy when I was coming. I waited a few weeks. So she'd forget. Well, the time came. I was on top all missionary and Eileen in real clothes. All Money N. Barbara. NHNHNNNHN. Streisand. Wham. Hand across my left ear and I go flying off of the bed. Worth it. I love these childbearing hips. Horrible thing to say. Could have just said I like your curves or I like your hips. These breasts could feed like 10 of my children. Just read this whole thread and I'm about to go to sleep, then the soft words of a madman trance through my mind. Yeah. You like that? You lying? We should have to stop. I'm cheating on my husband and it's going to ruin my family. We have a little boy together. We can't do this. I had no clue she was married. If you saw her, you'd have no clue either. Edit. Since someone responded with why was she that hideous? And my reply was met with downvotes and morons calling me stupid for not just saying yes. I'll explain. Yes. She was that hideous. She wasn't an 18-year-old. She wasn't a 65-year-old. She was simply disgusting and poor V0'd Caddick didn't care at the time. I honestly didn't expect that someone would marry that thing. So I was shocked to find out someone did. When I replied, I was implying she was hideous without actually having to say so. But apparently people don't understand that kind of thing. I had already been in her for 15 minutes. Huh? You don't have HIV, do you? Me. Oh, her. Oh good. I would hate to get that. Again. Of all the things that didn't happen, this one happened the least. I'd been teasing my wife for several hours, not letting her come. When I finally relented, she came super hard. So hard. In fact, that she started grunting, which she had never done before, and making a funny face. Being the immature child that I am, I started laughing. Oops. My now boyfriend, when we were drunk, told me he wanted to put his PSSY in my vagina. Someone just followed me. I have 270 followers now. I'm gonna go with you're not even a man. You're just a little boy. My ex used to beat me, but at least he knew how to me. I'm just going to shrivel up and die remembering that now. And never have sex again. Girl I was seeing back in the day who was ARPed pretty much asked me to reenact her ARPE moment. Rip her clothes. Punch her. Make her bleed and then verbally degrade her. Yo, I was done for the night. I learned how to do this from the husband of my last girlfriend. I made up a fake girlfriend to get SX tips from him. My bad for moaning. How'd you get so good at this? While his fingers were inside me. I am so confused by this whole comment. Tell me you're my bitch. I wanna hear it. Say you're a bitch. I'm a dude. She seemed really sweet until her clothes came off. I have never lost an erection that quickly in my life. Lame. She sounds awesome. Deeper. But that's so hot. Edit. Unless you were already all the way in. I could see that being a confidence killer. My dick feels like corn. She whispered in my ear. Are you feeling it now? MR. Crabs. I was 16 and my dick skin ripped. Blood everywhere. Still finished. I might not get another chance at this I am Thebiscuit. Just watched Holes. She says. Wanna dig in my hole? Stanley Yelnats? Hahaha. My slippers are still on. Me. Realizing my slippers were still on. 2014.